Welcome back to the lab, robots. Today we are going to take the 3090 Vision OC 24GB through the Mistral 7B leaderboard. This is the exact one that I have. I bought this used for about $680, I do believe. Maybe it was $700, I don't remember. This is an Ampere architecture that has a TDP of about 350 watts. Everyone goes to these 3090s when running local AI, and we all love the performance that they get from them. We've got 10,496 cores, 24 gigabyte of GDDR6X memory, and a 384-bit bus. Let's go ahead and jump right into our testing today. And we'll get started with the Q3 model, and then we're going to burn through all the tests, and we'll gather up all the data and come back at the end and look at the results across all these quants, and then add them to the leaderboard. So here we go. We've got the Q3 model fully loaded up. Let's give it a second to start responding. Feels pretty darn quick to me. Remember now, this is at the start. We're going to run 20 tests. First one back at about 88 tokens per second. 89 for the second one. Let's kick this into fast forward mode. We'll come back at the end, let you see the last test so that you can feel where it settles out to. And then we'll go directly into Q4, Q5, Q6, Q8, and FP16 and come back at the very end. So here we can see the test just cruising right through. Here's the final, or the 20th test as it fell down, or averaged out, I should say. Still cruising right along as we would expect from the 3090. Final test comes back at about 70 to 72 tokens per second. Let's go ahead and generate that report. We'll get this all set up for Q4 after we cycle the pod so that we can get some nice fresh results. Go set it up for the Q4 model, change the report name, and start getting this all loaded out. All right, here comes the Q4. We can see it all loaded up. And there it goes. Oof, yep, cruising right along, and just like we would expect these 3090s to do. First one back at 97. That's fast. That's fast. Second one back, 96. Okay, let's go into fast forward. We'll come back, let you guys watch the 20th test here and see how that goes. And coming up on the last test here, let's see how it feels after it settled down and averaged out. Still cruising right along. If you've been paying attention, it's been using about 350 watts as we would expect. Last one in at 78 tokens per second on the Q4. Let's do our thing, generate the report. We'll go set it up for Q5 after we cycle the pod and get everything restarted. Go get the Q5 model selected. We'll change the report name. Make sure we've got the 3090 showing, 20 tests just like we always do. And let's get this all loaded up here. Q5 taking just over 6.5 gigabytes of VRAM. And there it goes. Just still cruising right along on the Q5. As we would expect, we would basically assume that the 3090 is going to take the king of the leaderboard, at least for now. 89 and 90 tokens per second. Let's kick it into fast forward mode. We'll come back here at the end of that and let you guys see how Q5 settled out. Coming up on the last one here. How does that feel? Still looks quite fast to me. And the final results for the Q5 are about 71 tokens per second. Let's do our thing. We'll produce this report and cycle the pod, and then we'll go ahead and move on to Q6 here. And here's Q6 just cruising right along. Again, as we would expect on the 3090, first one back at about 81 tokens per second. These are evaluation tokens. Same thing, about 81. Let's kick it into fast forward mode. We'll come back here at the very last test and let you guys feel that. Just flying right along. Q6 using about 7.5 gigabytes of VRAM. And here's the final 20th test. Again, still cruising right along. If you have guesses for what it's going to pull off in FP16, put it down in the comments. 67, 68 tokens for the final on Q6. Let's go ahead and generate that report, cycle the pod, and set this up for the Q8 test. We can see all the memory cleared out there. Get the Q8 going, change the report name. Yep, make sure the 3090 is still showing up. And let's get this started. It's going to take a second to load up. Roughly up to just over 9 gigabytes of VRAM on the Q8 model. 72 tokens per second to start out. Still super fast, super fast. Again, another 72 tokens per second. Let's kick it into fast forward. We'll come back on the 20th test and let you guys feel that. Still using about 355 watts or so during inference on these tests. So definitely power hungry, but we all knew that. It's a 3090. And coming up on the final test here, let's slow it back down. This is real time at the end of the 20 tests. $60 tokens per second at the very end here. Let's go ahead and again do our thing. Get the report. Go ahead and cycle the pod, and we'll get this all set up for the final FP16 test. Then we'll bring all of these results together, and then we'll go slam this thing on the very top of the leaderboard is where I expect it to land. In the last video, we tested the 4070 Ti Super, and that was a very fast card. So we'll see if the 3090 can pass it up, but I think it can do it. We'll find out though. This is FP16 fully offloaded. 45 evaluation tokens per second on the first one. This is still just flying, and especially for FP16, using about 15.5 gigabytes of VRAM. Let's go into fast forward. We'll come back at that 20th test and let you guys feel. Again, still using about 350 watts, just over for each one of these tests. It's pretty consistent on this card during inference, just 350 watts. I'm going to use it all. And here's the last test. Still just cruising right along. Again, this is real time. Just slow it down so you guys can see the first and last test here. Ending with about 41 tokens per second. That's impressive. Very impressive. Let's go ahead and get this report produced. And then we'll go ahead and go right into gathering up all the data from all of these reports so that we can put it on a singular graph right in front of us. So let's stretch the screen out so you guys can see it a little bit better. We're going to go hop over to report management, select all of the reports for the quants, Q3 through FP16. We'll name it our Mistral Leaderboard 3090 24 gigabyte. And then let's go ahead and pop over and take a good look at what we came up with. So this is the prompt evaluation time. So this is basically showing you at this scale the loading time between each of the quants on the 3090. We have Q3 in blue, Q4 in orange, Q5 in green, Q6 in red, Q8 in purple, and FP16 in brown. This is the evaluation time. So we can see the FP16 is definitely up there, taking a little bit longer to evaluate, but we would expect that. Total time is going to be those two put together. Again, FP16 taking a bit longer. Again, prompt tokens evaluated, 111 across all of our tests. Completion tokens, this is going to mimic the length of the response that you are getting back from the LLM. So you can see that's actually quite tight in there across the quants. Total tokens, that's going to be those two put together. Prompt evaluation tokens per second. You can see they are actually quite grouped together in there. And then the final thing, evaluation tokens per second. This is what everyone's looking for. We've got FP16 settling down to just over 40. And then you can see the Q8 is in between 60 and 70, about 63, 64. Then the Q6, the Q5, and the Q3 are actually below the Q4 on the 3090. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and gather this all up and take it to the leaderboard and put that information in. Alright, you can always come check the leaderboard at RoboTF.ai. You can also get the reports from all of these video cards and just look at it just the way we are when we're doing these tests. Let's go ahead and bring up the Q3 results. And amazingly, the 4070 Ti Super is still in first place. The 3090 is in second place with 72 tokens per second at about an average of 350 watts. That was true for all of these tests on the 3090 as far as that goes. That's pretty amazing. I'm surprised that the 4070 beat it out. Let's go check Q4 and see if that is the same story. It is not. That's more like what I would expect. The 3090 has taken first place, but that 4070 is really close. Look at that, 82 to 77 tokens per second. But the 3090 remains king in the Q4. Let's go ahead and check the Q5 leaderboard and see where we land there. Yes, much the same story as we would expect. 3090 Vision in first place. 77 tokens per second, 350 watts. Let's go check the Q6. Again, same story. We got 71 tokens per second, 350 watts, but still that 4070 is real close to the 3090. Quite impressive. Here's the Q8. Again, 3090 in first place at 63 tokens per second. Just barely edging out that 4070 Ti. Not bad. Not bad at all, guys. That 4070 Ti might be a little bit more impressive than what people are giving it credit for. FP16 3090 has come in at 40 evaluation tokens per second. Just smoking the competition behind it. That 4070 Ti Super is on its tail, but also it doesn't have the VRAM of the 3090 that we all love. That is quite impressive. If you guys are enjoying this, please like or subscribe or both. And don't forget, if you're ever wondering, buy your AI pizza. See you guys next time.